So we want our boss to come in from the side of the screen and then start doing stuff that'll put our player in danger. So we have our boss right here in place. He's perfectly fine there for the moment, but we'll want him to move in from the side. But to do all that, we're going to need a script, obviously, to control that. So let's go down to our scripts folder. We're going to create a new C# script that we'll call it boss1. Because if you're making a game like this, surely you'll have multiple bosses as you play through your game. So we'll just call this one boss1. I'm just going to wait for this to compile a second. There we go. And what I'm going to do in our hierarchy is create a new empty object and call this the boss battle. And I'm going to attach the script to this object. And then I'm going to make the boss itself. So I'm actually going to rename this object here to be the boss. And I'm going to click and drag that and make that a child of the boss battle. So this way our boss battle will stay wherever it is, but that will control the position of the boss in the world map. So we're going to move the boss itself off the screen, so it starts off out to the side over here, and then once the battle starts it'll slide into place into the world. But how are we going to activate the boss into the game? When do we want it to appear? Well, logically the time when we want our boss battle to appear is when our last wave stops appearing. So let's set up our game manager to be able to do that. So we're going to go first of all into our game manager script, and we're going to create a new reference to the boss itself. We'll create a public game object. Oh, that's not working. Game object that we'll call boss battle. And you might not necessarily want to have a boss battle at the end of every level in your game. You might want it to kind of move on to the next level without having to fight a boss. You could just fight some enemies and move on to the next level, and then say have a boss every third level or something like that. But what we want to do here is say, okay, if there is a boss battle in the world, then we want to activate it when our waves run out. So when do our waves run out? When our wave tracker gets longer than our wave delay's length, then we stop spawning our waves. So when we stop spawning our waves, we can also tell it to, okay, if the boss battle, sorry, not the boss. If boss battle does not equal null, so basically if we have assigned a boss battle to the game manager, then turn that boss battle on. So we'll say boss battle dot set active is true. Okay, so let's go ahead and just make sure that that works before we do any more in our game. So we're going to go back into Unity, let that save. I'm going to deactivate the boss battle. We're going to let our waves play, and hopefully we should be able to see it in action. Let's go to our game manager. We're going to hook up our boss battle into that slot like that. I'm going to set our starting lives to be 3 just so we don't die and inevitably mess everything up. Let's go ahead and press play. So our little ships come in. Try not to get killed by all of them. Oh, I'm not doing so well at that. We're still getting lots of power-ups. I forgot to reset our power-up chance down from 100. So we're shooting away. We've got all our enemies popping in. But you can see now, so at this point our 3 waves have been spawned and our boss battle has been activated. Of course it's not doing anything in our game at the moment, but we can see in our hierarchy over here our boss battle is now active. So perfect. Our game manager is doing exactly what we wanted to do. I'm actually, just while we're here, going to reset this down to like 25, even less than that actually, 12% chance of getting the power up, because you don't want to be getting one all the time. Okay, so we've got our boss battle in place now. So let's open up that boss battle script and start doing some actual things with it. So the way we're going to handle our boss battle is by using multiple phases in our game. So there'll be, the first phase will be as our boss moves in from the side of the screen. Basically what we'll have is, straight away we'll have a countdown to how long it takes for our boss to appear on screen. Then once that countdown ends, we'll move our boss into position. And then once our boss is in position, we're going to make it move up and down the screen. And we're going to wait for it to get shot in the 2 laser hands. Once the 2 laser hands are destroyed, we'll move on to another phase where our boss battle will start shooting extra bullets, because of course the whole time the boss will be shooting bullets. It's no good if our player is just standing there looking at the boss. It needs to be having some kind of danger going on. So in the final phase we'll start shooting extra bullets, and then when the boss is finally destroyed, we'll move into the last phase, which is the boss is defeated. So to do that, we're going to first of all create a couple of public bools. So we're going to say public bool phase 0 for when we first start. Then we're going to have public bool phase 1 for when we're making the boss move onto the screen. Public bool phase 2 for when our boss is on the screen and he's now actively firing at the player and the player is trying to destroy the two different hands. Then we'll have public bool phase 3 for when the boss's hands have been destroyed and the player is trying to destroy the main body. And then finally we'll have public bool phase 4 for when the boss has been destroyed and we move on to deactivating the boss or moving on to the next level or whatever. So to start off with, we'll have phase 0. So in phase 0 we want to count down to the boss appearing on screen. So we'll just add a public float countdown to start. And then all we're going to do is in our update loop here, we're going to say phase 0, we're going to say if we're in phase 0, then make our countdown start going. So we'll have countdown to start minus equals time.delta time. And then if our countdown to start is less than 0, then that means our countdown has run out, so move on to phase 2. So we'll say not phase 2, we'll move on to phase 1. So phase 1, so we're actually doing something with the boss at this stage. Phase 1 will be equal to true, and phase 0 will be equal to false. So nice and simple and straightforward. That's how we're kind of progressing through these different phases. So the next thing we'll do is go into phase 1. So that means we're at the point where we want to start our boss moving in and getting onto the screen. So we're going to take a look at how we're going to handle phase 1 in the next video.